everybody. Hi, my faithful followers. Thanks for joining me today. Yes, I am live and in person. I'm through traveling for just a little bit, and I'm so glad to be at home. Today, we're going to kind of change things up a little bit. We are going to have some question and answers, but I just got back from a show. I went to Paducah. Fabulous show. Incredible quilters. I wish I would have had time to go and explore all the beautiful quilts, but I have a few, and I will show them one of these weeks to come. However, there are a lot of questions about stitch regulation out there and about tablet specs, so we're going to jump in just a minute after I just let you know how grateful I am that you join us every week and that you are watching and you're learning. I hope you're learning as we go. So let me jump in and let's talk about stitch regulation, and let me tell you about tablet specs, okay? So when you order the automation, it is really important for you to understand that with ours, you need to purchase your own tablet. And there are some specifications that you will need to have when you purchase that tablet. Now, a lot of you will ask, well, why don't you include it? Okay, price. It will make the price more expensive for the automation if we include the tablet. So we have allowed you to load the automation on 3 devices. You can load it on your laptop, your tablet, and your home desktop computer, or whatever you want. Others that you come with a tablet, they won't allow you to do that. It's only loaded on that one tablet, and if anything goes wrong with that tablet at all, then you are stuck. You have to go and send that tablet in to be fixed. So let's go and explore what the specs are. If you will go to our graceframe.com page and go over to accessories and find the Quilters Creative Touch Pro, click on that little icon there, and you will find on the little line down below specs, S-P-E-C-S. Now, it's not just the specs for the machines, it's also the specs for the tablet. And you scroll down, you'll find some information about the frames that it's compatible with, machines that it's compatible with, and now you'll find the minimum required tablet specs. If you will read through that, you will have a good idea of what tablet you can purchase. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to go out and buy the most expensive. No, please don't do that. Just find one that fits into the guidelines of the specs, and you're good to go. Most of us we use for our classes are the Surface Pros. They have a USB on some of them because they're older tablets, and we have a USB-C connection. Now, the only thing that I would say, if you are going to purchase the automation with the tablet, I would get 2 power cords. One that can travel along with you, and one that can be a dedicated power cord to your tablet on your machine. So you don't have to unhook it every time you go someplace. So that's my little thing. Buy 2 power cords and you're good to go. All right, let's jump in and talk about stitch regulation. All right. There's some little misconceptions out there about stitch regulation that I just want to eliminate, and I want you to have a better understanding of how it works with your machine. Whether you have a long arm machine or a little domestic machine and you're adding stitch regulation to that machine, it works pretty much the same, but you need to work within the parameters that your machine sews. So not all machines are created equal. Some are a little slower, some are a little faster, and some, like the length of the throat, some are a little shorter, that you have to work within those parameters of the throat space, and some are longer. But the stitch regulation works with your machine and how your machine functions. So let me come back. When you purchase it for a domestic machine, it comes in a SureStitch box, okay? And this is our Sure Stitch Elite. It's a great stitch regulator that works with several machines out there. And that's another thing. You can go online and find the specs for the Sure Stitch and see if your domestic machine will work with it. All right, let's talk about what comes in the box, okay? What comes in the box is you get what we call encoders. And I'm going to put this down here. Sorry. Okay. Encoders are what sense your movement. You have one encoder mounted on the bottom carriage right here. This is my bottom carriage and it's my side-to-side movement. This is my encoder right here. And see, it has a little cord that's plugged into the back of the encoder right here that comes all the way up and is plugged into what we call the main brain, the box for the stitch regulator. All right, that's the bottom encoder that senses the side-to-side movement. So you're probably saying, well, why do I need stitch regulation? Well, have you noticed that as you're moving your machine across the quilt, the faster you move it, the bigger your stitches will get. Because you're moving faster than that needle can sew up and down. What the stitch regulator does is it helps to keep you more consistent, and it tells the machine to speed up if you start moving faster or slow down if you start moving slower. So that's the bottom encoder. You also have an encoder on the side here. That's your top plate. It regulates the front to back movement. So you're moving front to back. This is the encoder, and notice it's the same cord. It plugs in right here on the encoder, and it plugs into this main brain. Now we have a couple more cords coming out of it. This right here is the encoder, it is the cord that plugs in from the main brain to your machine. Notice I have the foot pedal plugged in right now. I'm going to unplug my foot pedal and just let that fall back behind and plug in the stitch regulator, okay? Then I have the power cord. With the Sure Stitch Elite, you need to plug in to an outlet. So the power cord will plug into your outlet, and it will plug in, the power cord plugs in right here underneath the port that plugs into your, where your foot pedal goes. Then you have one more cord. The last cord, but last but not least, it's your display cord. It comes from the top here, and I have it mounted directly on the machine. It comes from the top. I have it looped through my sewing machine clamps to control the access of it, and it goes all the way to the front. So this is my display cord. Notice how it's plugged in right here. All right, so with the stitch regulator, you get a couple of modes. You can use it in manual mode if you want to, or you can use it in regulated mode. And I've already done some practicing, so I just wanted to show you. After last week, I felt like I need a little bit more practice on my designs. And you probably did too. So I went to the drawing board and I kept practicing all the time I was gone. I practiced my design over and over and over again. And I practiced it on every machine we had. So see, I've gotten a little better. This was with just the foot pedal. But notice my stitches are a little longer because I was actually moving it quite fast. Then I put the stitch regulator on, and notice how teeny tiny my stitches were. I just needed to slow down the speed of the stitch regulator so it would accommodate making nicer stitch. So I just practiced, and then I took it out again. I wanted to get my movements with the foot pedal down. So I've just been practicing several designs. So let's talk a little bit more about those encoders. Okay, when you're using the stitch regulator, you have what we call a lock collar. This is this little piece right here. This is our lock collar. When you screw it on to the wheel where it goes, this collar needs to be at the 12 o'clock position. That will make sure that the encoder springs down towards the track. So this little collar, you will lock to the 12 o'clock position, and once you do, then the encoder will spring down, okay? So make sure that your encoders have a little spring down towards the track, and then They will sense the movement. So if you have to say one of the techs, you call up the techs, you're getting some irregular stitches and you don't know what to do, and the techs tell you, okay, it sounds like we need to kind of pull the wheel out or tweak it just a little bit so it rides on the track correctly. Sometimes they can ride up on the little track, on the little crack, sorry, on where the track meets the track support. This gray piece right here, I don't know if you can get in there. See that there's a gray piece right here. And this, my tracks are slid through onto this, what we call a track support. So sometimes the wheel can ride in that little crack right there where those two meet, and we just need to adjust them down. So when you're adjusting it down, just a second, you just kind of pull it out of the way so we can make sure that it's riding on the tracks and not riding up or riding down in between those cracks. So, okay, now that we talked about encoders and stitch regulation, I want to talk to you about long stitches versus skip stitches. All right, a lot of tongue twisters here today, and my mouth's a little dry, so if I start going blah, 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 I'm sorry. Okay, so long stitch is a stitch where your needle does not go down into the fabric, all right? It's just one long stitch. A skip stitch is where your needle goes down into the fabric. So when you call the text and you say, oh, I'm having skip stitches, well, is it a long stitch or a skip stitch? I want you to look at your fabric, and if you notice little holes where the needle's gone down into, it's a skip stitch and it's probably a tension problem. All right? If you don't see any needle holes down into the fabric, then it could be an encoder problem. So you need to go check and make sure that your encoder wires are out of the way so you're not rolling over them, because it can give you a long stitch. Okay, we did make a stitch regulator for an Elna at one time, and I'm sorry that we don't. All right, let's talk about faster machines versus slower machines. Okay. They're like cars, okay? You have some cars that go really, really fast and some cars that are a little slower, all right? So we need to work within the parameters of our sewing machine, our sweet little sewing machine that we love. My Bernina is not as fast as this Juki. Doesn't mean I love it any less. I love it a lot, but it's just a slower machine. So if it's a slower machine, does that mean I'm going to move my carriage with my machine on it really, really fast? No, I'm just going to move within the parameters that it can sew. So if you can push the pedal all the way down and move your machine at a nice fluid pace, then do so. But if you need help, that's where the stitch regulator comes in. It frees you up so you can eliminate the foot pedal. It's going bye-bye. And it's all at your fingertips now. Now I can go from regulated mode to manual mode and back again. So let's try it out. And let me show you how nice it is to be able to go from manual mode to regulated mode. Then I'm going to show you how to change the bobbin, shift the quilt, and we're going to continue practicing on our way. Okay. So I'm in manual mode right now, and as I tap on it, it's at 45%. See, and I don't know if you can see this, but on my stitch regulator, on my screen, if I tap this, it puts me from regulated mode to manual mode. And then you notice that in manual mode, it's 45%. All right, I don't even know if you can see that. Can we turn it? Ah, there we go. It's upside down to you, but it's just right for me. So sorry about that. Just pretend maybe you could stand on your head to watch this segment. Anyway, maybe I could turn it that way. No, that didn't help. Okay, that helped a little bit. So I'm going to angle it and turn it that way. I was trying to hide it. Okay, now my hand's in the way. Sorry, you guys, I'm just trying to make some adjustments. Now the light's really bad. Okay, that's good. You can barely see it, but now that's manual mode. It's a touch screen, and I change it from regulated mode. Notice that I'm at 7 stitches per inch in the regulated mode, and in manual mode, my speed is 45%. So we're going to turn it on and see, and I can adjust my speed by the minus or the plus. The minus will make it slower, the plus will make it faster. So as I'm moving, I can make those adjustments. So I'm going to turn it on. We're in manual mode. Okay, but see, it might be a little fast for me as I'm moving, but I could speed it up or slow it down. But it just frees me up so I don't have to use that foot pedal and work with it on it. So I'm going to practice my design. Okay, that's manual mode. Okay, now I want to go into stitch regulated mode, okay? I've shown you manual mode. I did pretty good. I was moving it. I wasn't moving it really fast. I was maintaining a steady pace. And sometimes I really like manual mode for like pebbling and circular designs. So try it in the different modes. If you have stitch regulated, if you have a longer arm machine, you have 3 modes, try them all. Get to know them because you'll use the modes for different designs. All right, so now we're going to change from manual to regulated, and I'm at 7 stitches SPI. That's because I noticed that way back here you saw the teeny tiny stitches. This is a fast little machine, and I wanted to slow it down, so I slowed it down to 7, and I felt like that was a much better. Now see how consistent my stitches look, even if I'm moving it faster or slower. I maintain that consistency. Another nice thing about the stitch regulator is the edge warning. Notice that I'm getting close to the edge where I know that I'm about to hit the side. Well, with this stitch regulator, the stitch and all of our elite machines, we have what we call the edge warning. So I'm going to cut the threads right here. And I'm going to set the edge warning so that I know when I'm getting close to the side. So I'm going to come up here to my little wheel and the tool features. I'm going to go inside the tool features right here. Let me show you that again, okay? That's the little wheel. That means I'm going to go into my settings. Now I want to come down here to tools. In my tools, you'll find edge warning. It's at the very bottom. I'm going to tap on that. All right, it's off right now. I want to turn it on. Okay, so I want to come up here. Sorry, I have to see what it's doing. So I'm going to come up here all the way to my upper left. I'm going to move it as far as I can, and I'm going to set my upper left, okay? Now I'm going to move it all the way across my quilt. I want to move this thread out of the way, and I want to pull it down towards the bottom, and that is far as I can reach, and I'm going to do the lower right. Now I have set it. I can set it between a 1 inch or a 1/2 inch warning. I'm just going to do a 1/2 inch, and I'll let you know. Okay, now I'm going to go back into my stitch regulated, and I'm going to continue on. I'm going to pull up my threads. I'll do my single stitch. Oh, single stitch right there. Oh, I was right on that. It's a little short one, so I will just start. When I turn it on, notice I'm not tying off my stitches because this is such a fast machine. It's going to do an anchor stitch the minute I turn it on because it's going to start, the needle's going to start moving up and down. Notice that, and now I'm going to come. See, I'm close to the edge. You can hear that beeping. And the closer I get, the faster it'll start beeping. I bet I have room for one more. I hit the side. Okay, so I should have listened to it, but now I can go down and move away. That's what the stitch, the edge warning does. It just keeps you from messing up your design. And so try that out if you have one of the elite machines. It's a lot of fun. So now I'm going to work my way back. And we are going to show you. Are there any questions that anybody has about stitch regulation? I didn't even ask. So any great questions? No questions. Good. I'm doing my job. So if anything comes up, if you can't, if I didn't answer your question here, you could always email me. It's Karla with a K, Karla at graceframe.com. And so make sure that you send me what you're working on and want to see all those beautiful quilts. I want to see that big humongous quilt on your Cutie frame and how you're quilting it. All right, so I'm going to undo it right here. I'm going to cut my threads. I'm going to move it back here because I wanted to show you how to shift your quilt, and then I'm going to show you how to change the bobbin. So I'm going to put my needle in the down position because I'm ready to shift my quilt to the next section. Pretend I'm doing a border, okay? So what I'll do is I'm going to unclamp my clamps. I'm going to take this clamp off. Now, a big question that a lot of ladies had that had neuropathy or problems with arthritis, how do you get these clamps off? And is it easy for them too? No, these clamps are not easy, but I have a way to do it, okay? And if you will use your thumbs. Give me the thumbs up. You will find it much easier, and these are what are going to help you pull these clamps off. So I'm going to use my thumbs here. I'm going to use them as leverage. So I'm going to come all the way over here to this end of it so that you can see what I'm doing. See, I put my thumbs and I stabilized them. I'm taking my fingers right here and I'm pushing with my thumbs and pulling up with my fingers up away. If you will do that, you'll find great success. And ladies, the customers that came up were actually able to get the frame because they found that they could do it. Now, when we're putting it back on, I'll show you how, if you have problems with your wrist and your hands, how to put it back on where it's not going to be a problem. All right, so I want to shift it this direction. So what I did is I undid these front two clamps, okay? Now I'm going to take all the straps off and undo these two clamps. I'm going to leave this clamp on, okay? And my needle in the down position. And I'm going to carefully, let me move all these out of the way, carefully shift my machine, pulling it this direction. Carefully, carefully. And what happens is that this helps keep it nice and straight. And then I'm going to move it as far as I can. And I know that I have, see what happened? This got caught on the cable right here. Just wanted to show you. So watch your clamps so that they don't catch on you. Just undo it. All right, I knew something was going on. So, and then this one right here got caught right there. So now I can pull it the rest of the way. All right, so now it's going to be much easier for me to pull. So now this clamp is positioned over here. I could actually pull it a little further. And I can take my quilt and take the two clamps that I took off. I'm going to put them on and put my straps back on. And then I'm good to go for my next row, for the rest of the row. Make sure I'm clamping up 4. And then I'm going to put my 2 front clamps on. Okay, so when I put my front clamps on, I want to make sure that I'm pulling down. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, as I'm doing, I'm going to use my fingers now. I'm going to use my thumbs to push down and my fingers as leverage right under here, okay? So on this little pole right here, I'm going to show you. This pole right here, I'm going to push my fabric up and under, and pull it down, and I'm going to use my hands and just push it down, just like that. I'm going to go get my other one, do the same thing. And there we are. We're ready to go. Now we just want to make sure that we do our straps back up, because with the stitch regulator, it can get caught up on the cords. So we want to make sure that all 8 straps are in place. And that didn't take that long, honestly. to quilt. Okay, so now I can continue on my quilting. So say we have to change our bobbin. What do? Some of you have top loading and some of you have front loading bobbins. This one is a front loaded, so I need to move the fabric out of the way. Usually what I'll do is assess how much fabric is on one side or the other, but it's equal. So I'm just going to use this one as my clamp that I'm going to take off. And I'm just going to take off one clamp, and I'm going to undo it, and I'm just going to lift up my presser foot and pull it out of the way, okay? If I pull it out of the way and move my fabric back behind here, then I have access to my bobbin case, and I can change my bobbin real quickly. You can pull it out, put it back in, make sure you hear it snap, and then you're able to keep all these other clamps in place. Put your clamp back on. Notice that it's sliding. Make sure that you try to get yours as level as possible. But there, we're good to go. Okay, that's all you have to do with changing the bobbin. And no big thing, just, just take your time and enjoy the process. Quilting should be fun. It should not be anxious, and it should not be frustrating. Let's take our time, learn the design, and enjoy our abilities to quilt. So now I'm going to remember to put the presser foot down, and we're going to start quilting and practicing our designs. That's all there is to it. So make sure that you're tying off. I kind of leave it up. See, I lost my thread. Dang it, at the very end. Okay. You know your machines. You know how they work. You love them. When you use them to quilt, don't think that they can sew faster with a stitch regulator than you can sew our piece with, okay? That's not what a stitch regulator does. It helps free you up from having to use the foot pedal. What you need to do is still continue to use your machine like you do for piecing, but just push the fabric through at a slower pace, because that's how fast it can sew. If you will work within the parameters of how fast your machine can sew, you will have much prettier designs and a better result. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I'm going to get my threads put back on. I'm going to continue to practice. Next week, I'm just going to tell you, I'm really excited that if it doesn't show up, I can't do it. So it'll be the week after. I ordered a ruler base from So Steady. It still has not shipped. So I am not sure if I'm going to be showing you ruler work next week, or if I'm going to show you the laser. Okay, it will be one or the other, depending on if that ruler base does show up. I hope it does, because I have some exciting things to show you with the ruler base. Yes, Roxanne, we do sell a ruler base for the 16X series. You will love it. It's such a good, stable ruler base. You will love doing ruler work. Wow, it's just another aspect of quilting that excites me, because you're learning something new. Try it. And join me next week for either ruler work or laser, one or the other. Who knows? It's up to us to make our quilting count. So do your due diligence, learn how your machine works, enjoy the process, and I will see you next week. Thanks for joining me. Take care. Bye-bye.